You know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do, and they don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So I don't really know how to feel, which I know sounds weird. You're 7-0. I should feel great. Yeah, I do. I feel great. Mm-hmm. I also like that defensive performance, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, 2 times on the road this year. Now, the tackling, I don't think it was an issue in Notre Dame. Notre Dame was just...
Sometimes it was, but it wasn't
as glaring as this game. So, but there's like, and I think it's okay to be like very happy about where they are and also look at that defense. All right, guys, you know, you're going to take on quarterbacks like that twice this year, Taylor Green and Lenore Sellers, right? Like, and that game seemed very similar to the South Carolina game, except you won. But I think of it as like, overall, I feel pretty good. 7-0. You know, a lot of great teams lost. A lot of teams with good records lost. You did not. Miami goes down. Texas Tech goes down. There's upsets. Texas struggles with Kentucky finds a way. And the life in the SEC is survive and advance. And right now they're 7-0. And the math problem is, can they win at least 3 games to make it? And one of those games will be here against Stanford. But can they win 3 games to pretty much ensure, not a guarantee, but pretty much ensure you're in the playoffs?
Yeah, all those things. And I feel good about the win. Could A&M play better? Yeah, we've seen them play better. And you know what? That game reminded me of 2 games. 2 games from 2012. It reminded me of when A&M played Louisiana Tech.
Like second week of the season, something like that?
No. They played Louisiana Tech late because they were supposed to play. They were supposed to open them.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes.
And Johnny made a big play late and yet Louisiana Tech came back and scored, and they were actually kicking an onside kick.
Yeah.
Late, and it also reminded me from the different perspective of the Alabama A&M game. If you're an A&M fan, you know how Alabama felt in that game when Johnny's running all over the place. You can't catch him, and he's driving you crazy. And that's kind of what was going on with Taylor Green. He played great. He came into the game leading the nation in total offense. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know that because they haven't had a lot of success. But they've moved the ball on everybody, including Notre Dame. They had like almost 400 yards of offense in that game. So I was stressed about that game. Bobby Petrino now being in charge. I knew they can score. I did not think they would score to that
Clock
degree.
Management, Petrino?
Yeah, on both. I thought A&M butchered the clock management at the end of the half. And no team, I'm not saying this on Elko and his staff, but I'm saying over the course of the last 5 to 10 years, I doubt any team in the country that's supposed to be good closes halves worse than Texas A&M does. But I was shocked when Arkansas scored, and your first play after that is you're going to throw to the sideline to Theo.
Yeah.
Who is not, Theo, love you, appreciate you. He's not going to break a tackle and make a play. He's going to get pushed out of bounds. And I'm like, why are you, if you're going to say, okay, we're going to score, all right, they just scored and we're going to answer it. The play is not a horizontal pass towards the sideline to Theo.
Right.
And I think right then when they stopped that, you saw and then just the poor defense. That they still you stop the clock for them. They end up getting the ball with I thought they might, if they were lucky, they'd get a field goal, and they get that long run. They scored in 41 seconds.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of frustration to that game,
but a lot of things to be happy about too. A lot.
Well, I think you won the game. You won. Arkansas playing great, and look, it was a 3-point game. They scored with 10 seconds left, and there was what I think, and I'm sure some would disagree with me, but I think it was a bogus call on the hold that really cost Marcel a touchdown, and maybe
game's over at that point. It's like,
plus if he gets that play, I don't want to oversell it, but I think you might anyway. But I think you'd have people seeing that nationally and going, oh, maybe that Buchanan guy is not so far off base about saying that this guy, should have been a Heisman contender. So, but yeah, you were that close from winning.
He moved up to your list again?
Yeah, he'll be on the list.
Yeah.
Taylor Green will too. You could have won that game easily by 17 points.
And we've said that a couple of times this year, by the way.
Right. But what I'm saying is, we're looking at, oh gosh, it was frustrating. It was frustrating. But how should we feel about it? They gave up a touchdown with 10 seconds left to make it a one score. It was a 2-score game. You were up by 10. I think we'd picked the game to win by 10.
Yeah.
So it just looked different than we thought it would.
Well, here's a stat from Luke Evangelos. This game had 87 total points, 1,024 total yards, 20 drives, 11 touchdowns, 4 punts.
I counted, and I might have been off, but I counted Arkansas having 19 plays of 10 yards or more. They had 8 plays that they had 305 yards on.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's unacceptable. You can't, if A&M does not win a championship, it'll probably because they gave up at least one, pivotal big play or too many big plays. That's always been kind of all year.
Yeah.
Has been kind of the thorn in the side, right? Is this tendency you can play well like they did against like even UTSA in the first game, but you give up the big play. That thorn in the side. And this wasn't just, this was falling in the briar patch. It wasn't a thorn in the side. It was thorn all over.
Yep. Let's hear from Coach Elko.
Okay.
Because I think his first comments after the game kind of is like where we are. Happy with the offense, very disappointed with the defense. Here's Coach Elko.
Offensively, obviously, we played a really, really good football game. I thought that was Marcel's best game of the year. Did a lot of things with his arm, with his legs, extended drives, did a really good job in the passing game, spread the ball around. Thought we had some guys step up and make plays. It was great to see A.J. Smith step into a really strong role tonight, and obviously he has the critical 4th-and-1 run in the fourth quarter where he goes and gets it. Ashton Bethel-Roman has 2 critical catches tonight. I think he had 4 total for the game. It was great to see that. And, we never, as hectic as it felt, because I felt like I was calling defenses, like the offense never let them get the ball back with a chance to take the lead. And I thought that was huge. I think we never let them actually touch the ball with a chance to go up. And it's a credit to our offense. It's a credit to what they did defensively. We picked a really, really bad night to play bad football. We played bad football. We didn't play anywhere near the standard of Texas A&M football ever at any point during the course of the game. We battled, but it just wasn't good enough. And when you do that against a really good offense, that's what happens. And so obviously he's a tremendous player. Hats off to him because every time I felt like we were kind of trying to get a grasp of the game, he did something remarkable to keep it in their hands.
Speaking of remarkable, to me, you mentioned the end of the half. Mm-hmm. Really the end of the half, end of the game. 21 of their points happened in those 3 minutes. 2 minutes left in the first half. They scored 14 points. You could have gone into halftime getting the ball back and it had been over. But you gave up those 14, and then the last minute of the game, the last 10 seconds is when they scored. They also got that touchdown. So 21 of their 42 points, came in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I thought that they just went up 21-6. I thought maybe that they were going to hold Arkansas to another field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Didn't they score or do I got them mixed up? No, it was the last one. I was thinking they might hold them to a field goal and be up, 21-16 or what. I think that's what it would have been. But yeah, I mean, that touchdown they got was too easy. I'm not surprised Arkansas was able to go score a touchdown. I was shocked that they were able to get two. And again, I think A&M kind of helped them with that, with their what I thought was just really bad play calling on that first play. I still tell me why I'm wrong, please. Somebody, I mean, are you good with just even throwing a maybe if that's Craver over there or Concepcion, they break, they can break that. He's not going to break a tackle. He's going to get pushed out of bounds. Stops at the very least. You say, well, Arkansas is going to call timeout. Okay, well, they just lost the timeout. If you're going to throw downfield, I don't have a problem if you said, no, we're going to go try to score. We're better on offense, but that's not the play. And anyway, I was frustrated with that up in the press box when I thought that. I thought they would go into the half up 21-13, and I thought they'd get the ball back,
score,
and that they would keep a 2-touchdown lead most of the game because I thought they could score on Arkansas. Arkansas's defense had more trouble stopping A&M's offense and vice versa.
What do you say to those that say, outside of Notre Dame, A&M hasn't beaten anybody?
They've beaten everybody on their schedule, right? Who do you want to, what team do you want to look out there? Ohio State, okay? Who Ohio State beat outside of? I'm going to look up Ohio State.
They beat Texas.
Okay.
They beat Wisconsin.
Texas, right? Texas lost to Florida. A&M beat Florida.
Would you give?
Okay.
Would you give Bama some props for winning 4 straight road games against ranked teams?
Absolutely.
Which has never happened before without a bye week in between. So Alabama was the first team to do that. 4 straight road top 25 victories.
But your question was, what would you say to people if you said you only beat that team? Well, I'd say, okay, Ohio State only beat Texas. They only beat Grambling. They only beat Ohio. They won at Washington. Washington's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota. Okay, Illinois. Illinois and Texas, and we know Texas. I would even say who's ranked right now that Ohio State beat?
Nobody.
Texas isn't. Is it
Texas
Illinois?
Ranked. Texas ranked.
Are they ranked?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. I thought they wouldn't be because of their. I thought they were going to lose to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Illinois is ranked.
Yeah, but I think if you play Florida and Illinois, Florida beats them.
Maybe. I guarantee you. Okay. Here's your point. Texas. We're going to compare schedules, and you don't have a problem with Ohio State's schedule, but you do A&M's. Texas lost to Florida. A&M drove Florida.
Yeah.
Another ranked team, Ohio State, beat Illinois. Who are you taking between Illinois and Notre Dame?
Taking Notre Dame.
End of discussion. And A&M hadn't played Grambling. So, and I'm not saying Ohio State shouldn't be number one, but you're saying what's your answer to someone is, well, they've only beaten Notre Dame. I'm like, well, you can play that game with everybody.
I went back and forth with somebody on Twitter, and then I stopped. I was like, why? Why am I talking to this person? But I'm going to read you his because he was actually coming at me and Billy after Luchador, and his name is Marty, good old Marty, and it was based on the tweet about Texas A&M. You have to believe in this team at this point, and I think Billy made that comment during the Luchador. So Marty's like, not so fast. They're like Texas last year. Weak SEC schedule. The 4 SEC wins versus the bottom 6 teams in the league. 3 of them don't even have an SEC win yet. Opponents are 2-12 in SEC play. Billy chimes in, plus a win on the road versus Notre Dame. That's as good as anybody in college football this season. That's a good win, he says. I'm not sold on Notre Dame, one-dimensional, but they have left the play's record, no doubt. I think USC isn't great either. Indy won at Oregon, Bama won at Georgia. Basically, people just don't want to be happy.
Well, is this an A&M fan?
Yes, an A&M fan.
Then you shut up.
Marty.
Farty, look, that was a really stupid take. Your team is 7-0.
He's a scientist.
Well, get back in the lab, Marty.
He's got a PhD.
Get back in the lab.
He says
Poindexter.
He says he's got street smarts. I'm reading his bio right now.
You're stupid, Marty. They're 7-0. Yeah, they gave up a lot of points against a team that scores a lot of points that almost beat Ole Miss. I think they scored 35 points in that game, and we're driving.
Let me give you a little bit more.
Okay.
So I tell Marty, or however you call him,
McFly.
So basically, I tell him, you're not sold on anyone, so it's okay to believe in our team. Thanks. And he responds with, I'm sure people love going back and forth on Twitter on the radio show. Of course it's okay for you to believe. I just gave you a fact. Sorry, you don't like that.
I just gave you a fact too, Farty.
He's got more though. Hold on. Okay. Read numbers and stats. That's what I do. Hype is your job. Bro, you don't know my job.
Well, no, I know your job.
You do. You actually work with me. Marty doesn't know what I do. I've never been told to hype up anything. I tell you what I think when I think it. And sometimes I think one thing in one moment, and 3 minutes later I think something different. Because that's called being just watching the game and having different emotions. You look like you're studying something.
Well, I'm just looking at the top 25, AP top 25, and I think I made my point with the whole. If you're going to be that way, look at the Ohio State schedule.
Yeah.
Texas.
Good old Marty. I think you and Marty should go 17-35.
Look, I can get it if you're frustrated with the offense, right? I mean, I'm sorry, with the defense. Because once again, I always say, look through it with the lens of, can you win a championship with that? And you can't win a championship with the defense that you played last week. You're not going to play, I don't know, who else is out there that's
You're
like,
not going to play an offense like
Taylor
that again.
Green?
You're not.
Lenora
Sellers.
Not this year.
But
he has the ability.
And you couldn't tackle him last year.
Right. I think I was more as frustrated as anybody. I think there's a silver lining to that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what it is. And only because you won. There's no silver lining if you lost. But now Elko has
evidence.
Guys getting it, kind of excited about making big plays, maybe sometimes not feeling on the, maybe busting their assignments on occasion and say, look, I'm going to show you everything, every way you effed up in this game on defense and remind you that you're not as good as you think you are unless you play within the structure of the defense that we've got, that we have set up.
Yeah.
And this is a hell of a reminder. I understand this isn't going to, it's not going to be maybe the best evidence, but I would expect that A&M is going to come out and play a tremendous defensive performance this week. Now you can say, yeah, well, of course it's going to be against LSU who can't score. But I guarantee you.
I don't like to say things about narratives. You know how I feel about it.
They can't score. And I guarantee you're going to see an A&M team that's going to play within the structure of the defense.
Yes. I know they can't score, but Peyton Thorne. So I just don't say anything. I just stay quiet because it was my fault. I take full blame last year. It was on me. Anyway, should I tell the people the name of the show?
Yeah. Right. You got me all worked up. So does Marty.
We're TexAgs Live. Okay? We are presented by
David Gardner's Jewelers.
I don't know if you said that with it. Yeah, I felt like you were frustrated there.
Not with David Gardner.
He's the gem.
He's a gem of a guy, unlike Marty.
Yeah. Well, the other Marty's going to be on the show later. He's a gem of a guy, too.
Yeah, I like Marty Smith. And he'll probably say, hey, look, Arkansas's offensively better than you think, and getting out of Fayetteville with a win is sufficient.
Yeah. By the way, we're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason and Jackson, the boys.
Love them. This hour, we have a name for it. It's called the Go?
It's the Go Hour, brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations.
Correct.
Marty.
And if you want to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, you can call or text.
The what?
Call or text.
With the what?
At
the Buppies?
Well, that's what I was doing. Yeah, the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline at 979-693-1150.
And typically, we're right over there in the holistic planning.
Cool zone.
It's so cool to be there.
Yeah.
It's great. We're 20 minutes in. We just got to the spots, so don't be mad at us. Let's go around the room, left to right, to say hi to the people. And Nick Savage is behind the glass. Hello, Nick. Good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you, sir?
Not to continue the dunk train on Farty, but my only response to him would be Texas A&M is one of the 5 teams in the country that are 7-0 right now. And guess what? They're the only SEC team that is undefeated right now, sitting atop the standings here in late October. So, again, we know November is where, the money's made. But, again, I don't understand with being – you can have frustrations. I get that completely. But it's just like being overly negative right now just doesn't feel right to me.
By the way, I didn't see this. I just went on Marty's profile. He did say TexAgs, diehard Ag a whole life, watch TexAgs often, 2 rings from A&M kids, graduated, congratulations. Live in College Station, fly a banner. Nuño's a tough guy with his fingers on social media. We'll decide if I support TexAgs anymore.
Okay.
I don't think I said anything mean, by the way.
I did, but,
Whatever. Marty, I don't call you Farty. I have another name for you. Let's, you know what? Why don't we check in with Ella Ryan in the next segment? Can we do that? Yeah, you can answer. I'm just making sure. Because, we're 21 minutes in, and, Louis will get mad, and then he'll fight Olin, and it'll be a whole problem with his fingers. All right. Let's take Marty to 1775 and actually get on the same page. Okay, he's in the area. We probably just have a lot of passion for our team. We sit, we have some succulent brisket, we talk it out. He said, look, I'm a PhD, and this is what I think about A&M. And I'm like, you know what? You got a point, but here's my point. And then we all get along.
Well, I think if you went to 1775 and had that succulent brisket and that amazing jalapeno cheese sausage and some of those great pork ribs that I like so much and some of that queso mac and cheese,
yep.
I think everybody will be in a good mood. I think you can build bridges at 1775.
Not only build bridges, build memories, OB.
Build memories.
You know where I went on Friday?
Where?
I went to 1775.
Ooh, yeah, I'm so jealous.
I did. We were there, had a good old time.
What'd you have?
We had the mac and cheese, mac and cheese. We got the sampler.
The sampler.
Just start throwing stuff in the air.
Yeah. Who were you with?
I was with Billy.
Oh, man. Luch.
I was with Stark. And I was with McKinney, Steve McKinney.
Oh, I bet you Steve McKinney can eat a bunch of that barbecue.
I think I ate more than them, and I brought some food home. They were very nice about that. Yeah. It is 1775, txbbq.com.
Sexy.
979-492-6241. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. And we're back. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin.
He's David.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And she's Ella Ryan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I apologize getting to you so late, 27 minutes in, but we're ranting and raving about bodily fun. You know,
fun.
It happens. What's going on with you, Ella?
Nothing much, just Monday morning, trying to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah?
Boy, I heard that.
But good weekend for the Aggies. The number 10 A&M squad stayed hot this week. They swept Oklahoma on Friday evening at Reed Arena, and then they went and swept Arkansas for their third straight sweep of the season. But more importantly, Logan Lednicki tied her program record with 22 kills in that game. And next, I head up to LSU.
Yeah, big week in Baton Rouge, buddy.
It is. It is. It's the next demon to be exorcised. There's so many. I thought about it, and I heard Billy talk about it on the Luchador about all the dubious streaks and trends that A&M faced that they've gotten over, that they've overcome in this brief Mike Elko tenure. And the next one is winning in Baton Rouge. I was there in '94. I heard Billy say he was in college. To me, Billy's still in college. But anyway,
he's still in college.
He's like the frat guy in college.
But he wasn't in a frat, which is the best thing.
Yeah, but he's in his frat now.
Yeah.
That's the next one. That's the next demon to be exercised, is go win in Baton Rouge. And quite frankly, last week, and David can attest to this, I don't know if I said it on the air or not.
I think you did, actually.
But I was saying I felt less confident about winning at Arkansas than I did at LSU.
Yeah.
Because Arkansas can score. LSU has struggled to score. And I still feel that way. So I feel very good about A&M's chances of putting an end to that dubious streak.
Ella, what else?
We can talk about the Texas A&M soccer team. They battled hard against the number 8 South Carolina, and they finished 0-0 on Sunday evening, which actually is a good thing because this means that the Aggies remain tied with Auburn for the final spot heading into the SEC tournament.
That's good news. Very good news. Let's get a text or a message on YouTube or TexAgs.com.
Okay, this is one of them I liked. It said, guys, Le'Veon played against Arkansas. He changed his jersey to 22. EJ Smith is for real. He needs more carries and catches. Ruben was also awesome.
How about the way EJ played, man?
Yeah, I know we're going to get to the turning point later, and we're probably going to agree. But yeah, EJ, thank you, EJ. EJ was so huge in that game. I regret that there was a holding penalty because he deserved that touchdown. And what a beautiful run it was. Of course, Ruben finished it off on the next play. But, EJ came in as a godsend. He looked like his dad.
He did. And he ran like him.
He ran like his dad.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's get to the turning point on the other side.
Okay.
Because I think we had the exact same one.
I'm sure we do.
So we'll do that on the other side. Right now, we're talking about the good people at Paragon Financial Advisors. Stephen McGee, obviously, he's our QB1. He's there with them as well. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving all clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA and the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. We're back here on TexAgs Live. I'm going to read something nice. Okay. We're going to call this guy Artie. Okay. I don't know. It's a 346 area code. Huge shout out to the host of the show, David, Olin. You guys keep it real, positive about the Aggies, love the energy, and keep up the greatness. Honestly, I think we should be 2, not 3, but Indiana did beat Oregon, so maybe the Big Ten is good. Well, at least 3 teams. I don't care what number we are.
Plus, we both know that I have been negative, very negative at times when called for negativity.
Yeah.
I don't think a 7-0 start is ever a cause for negativity, especially when you haven't been 7-0 since 1994. By the way, the last year you won. The last year you won in Baton Rouge.
The last year of the last year of the Southwest Conference, right?
Is that right?
94, I believe so, because I think 95 was year one. I believe. I might be wrong. Susan says, "Shut up, humans. We're 7-0 for the first time in over 30 years. Talk about bad officiating." And she goes on about the Marcel Reed play. Oh, no, she said the hold and the safety. You're right. Yeah, game over. That's right. There was a hold on one of those plays. I guess, what was it, 2nd and 30, and there was a hold.
In the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the play, and I kept looking to see where the hold was, and I saw Basantes with his hands inside. Now, maybe I was blocked by Basantes' large back, and maybe he had two handfuls of jersey, but I didn't see it because I kept watching it. When Marcel goes by and the guy's trying to I don't see holding. Maybe I'm just missing it. But if that's holding, then there were a lot of calls that didn't get made that should have been holding.
By the way, I'm not saying that you guys can fan however you want to fan. If you want to be negative, go ahead and be negative. If you want to be positive, go ahead and be positive. I'm going to be me, you're going to be you. But you can still feel really good about where you are and say, God, that was a bad defensive effort. That was bad. That was really bad.
And you should be saying, man, we played, meaning Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie, you're saying we played the worst defense of the season and still won. You know?
Or you could say,
if you want to,
you scored 45 points on the worst defense in the SEC too. Everything is about perspective and how you want to look at it. And I look at it as like this: they're 7-0.
They're 7-0. And again, if you want to play the game about, hey, they didn't do this. Well, you know, Arkansas scored 35 on Ole Miss, and Ole Miss just had a great game on the road against Georgia. Well, yeah. Arkansas scored more than 35 points against Texas A&M, but they came 10 seconds away from scoring 35 points against Texas A&M, right?
Right.
So my point is that Arkansas is a team that can score, and they're at home. You know, the first game against at home with Bobby back as their head coach. You know, you could have played better, absolutely. And if you want to look at it through the lens of, hey, I'm concerned because this defense might keep you from winning a championship. Okay, I get that. But to say the 7-0 isn't that impressive, or they're not for real because who have they beaten? And I can play, you know, like I said, I just won the argument by comparing to Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know, that don't be a fart knocker.
OB, let's do the turning point. And,
okay.
And I think we both agree. I hate that it came down to this play, but it came down to it. And E.J. Smith.
E.J. Smith, you are a freaking man.
Dude, I thought he was going backwards.
He was.
He was going back. He ran into the lineman.
So we all saw it, right?
Yeah.
It's 4th down and 1 at your own 34.
Yep.
And Elko says, go for it. There's 10 minutes, 9:58 to be exact.
Yep.
9 minutes, 58 seconds in the game. And Elko decides to go for it on his own 34. If you don't make it,
you might lose that game, buddy.
Arkansas's already set up for a field goal to tie. If you don't make it, they got to go 33 yards to take the lead, and you know who knows what happens. So credit Mike Elko for having some massive cojones, right? So they go for it, and what do you know? You give the ball to EJ, and he runs into he doesn't really run into it. Mike O'Reilly's the tight end that's brought in on the play, and I think it's a defensive end, pushes him into the backfield. We all saw it in the EJ. EJ kind of, I don't want to say stumbles back, but he gets pushed back. So he's 2 yards deep in the backfield after taking the ball.
Yep.
And he catches himself, finds just a little crease, and powers through that for a 2-yard gain. The biggest 2-yard gain you've ever seen in your life as an Aggie fan. That might be a little bit hyped up,
but for the moment,
for that game,
for that game was the biggest ever.
A huge 2-yard gain.
Yeah.
And then what do you do after that? You go 7 plays later, you're in the end zone.
I'm going to add a part 2 to the part 1. Okay. The part 2 is, and Billy talked about it on Luchador, Reuben Owens getting that catch on the 3rd and 4. Was it?
It was about it. Yeah. And
I have it here on the notes.
Was it 3rd and 4?
It was, let's see.
But that was a big call.
7 yards. It didn't say what it is here.
Okay.
It was 7-yard play. I think it was third and whatever.
Yeah.
And it looks like he could drop it because it's kind of like.
Yeah.
And he gets it and he gets the first down. They end up scoring on a 12-yard touchdown later. I'm going to give you another turning point.
Okay.
This is not a good turning point.
Okay.
The Taylor Green touchdown, 22-yarder at the end of the half. Okay? It's 21-6 at that point.
21-6.
And that dude just and they had the pylon video of it. And was that on second down? Was it on third down? Remind me when you look at your notes, OB.
It was 2nd and 11.
2nd and 11. And he just gets in there, and it's like, oh, the momentum has just shifted. That touchdown there, because remember, he had gotten hurt, comes back in and looks phenomenal. And you're like, uh-oh. And that allows the momentum to change. And then they get the ball one more time and score again.
Right, which never should have happened.
If you stop him on that play or that series.
Well, remember, he had a 36-yard pass in that when A&M comes hard with the blitz, which I didn't understand that. I thought the way to approach them was rush 4 and keep a spy. And so, what was the kid's name? Rohan, I can't think of it, number 88. And they just hit him down the seam for 36 yards. And that's when Arkansas said, hey, we got a great chance to score. So, so they took advantage of their opportunities.
And then there was the Mike Henderson run on a...
Mike Washington?
Mike Washington. I don't know, Henderson.
Mike Henderson's a Hunter Goodwin's employee. Big Aggie.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Mike. Gig him. But that play to me was like, because you had
Which one?
The 3rd and 6 where he bust out like a 34-yarder, and you're thinking to yourself, we're about to force him to punt early third quarter. And he just went off.
He played the game of his life. But, going back to Taylor Green, I don't know if you know this, but I personally have always been favored a running quarterback and letting him run, or at least encouraging to run when the opportunity is there. How big was that 46-yard scramble on the second play of the second half? Marcel Reed just sees that opportunity. It opens up and he just takes off. And I'm thinking, man, where's that been?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
more of this, please, because he gave it to us later. But more of that, please.
I also understand using it, every once in a while because you just don't want.
Well, that wasn't even a called play.
Right.
It was.
He just saw it and he took it.
He sees it and took it, and he didn't even take it. Is that it? He didn't even take a hit. I think that's the play right there. He doesn't take a hit. I think he runs out of bounds. Yeah. See, you got 46 yards. He never took a hit.
Yep. Let's hit a break and come back with some final thoughts. We'll get some more text messages from Ella Ryan. Right now, Duck Camp. I love Duck Camp. I know you guys should love Duck Camp. I know OB loves Duck Camp.
I wore Duck Camp at the game.
Yeah?
I had a long sleeve, felt pretty warm and needed to be.
Yeah. Well, this morning I went for a run, and it was, 54 degrees.
This morning,
it felt great, but I was like, I need a little bit of
a 3-mile walk.
Did you really?
3-mile walk.
We should meet sometime. And I put on the breathable hoodie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was warm enough, but still I can get the coolness. It was fantastic. They got it all. The essential hoodie, as I mentioned, the lightweight performance hoodie. That's the one I was wearing, the breathable, quick drying one. You can battle in that 100-degree heat, or you can wear it in the cold, whatever you want to do. You've got the lightweight fishing shirt, whether you're gearing up for a hunt or a fishing trip or just trying to survive heat in College Station. Duck Camp's got you covered. Check it out at duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors and designed for everything else. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. Look at you. Hey, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the Goat Wire, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. And let's do this, OB. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Days. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. And as a reminder, they are not open on Mondays. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan's got some messages for us. Ella?
Yeah, I got a few. This one said, hard as it was to watch, this was the perfect time to have our defense humbled. Too much rat poison from shutting down less impressive offenses.
It kind of goes back to my theory that this, only because they won, that there's a silver lining there.
Yeah. So you expect a pretty good defensive performance against LSU?
Yes, I expect a dominant one.
Yeah. Ella?
Okay, the next one. Watching LSU and Vandy, LSU got beat on both lines of scrimmage, and while their defense plays fast, they bite on everything. A&M can attack them by hitting outside run and using their tight ends in the passing game. I also expect Nessmeyer to be running for his life.
Well, put it this way. As good as Taylor Green was, he was pressured quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think it was 6 hurries.
Yeah, and there were some that didn't even come down, weren't even put down as pressures or hurries that were there. I mean, there was a lot of times the pocket around him was shrinking, but he was just so adept at spinning away. And
you know what I found very good about him was he was calm under duress. He almost looked like he was gliding. He wasn't like running fast. I mean, he was obviously fast, but it did seem like it came effortlessly.
I heard the guy, because I always watch the game, the replay of the game. Irma's good enough to always video it for me, or however you want to record it. And so I watched it, and I heard the guy calling it, Roddy Jones, I think it was, saying that Taylor Green has been clocked running at 21 miles an hour.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
I'm like, man, that's fast.
That's like you.
Yeah. I can't even drive 21 miles an hour.
That's like Obi at the mall when he's a mall walker getting his steps in.
So they were around him a lot, and he was just able to spin away. And then he made some passes like the one we're watching right now, the touchdown, where he was throwing on the move and throwing accurately.
Yeah.
So could it be that he had the game of his life? Could it be that that's his Calzada moment? I mean, sometimes, he's better than Calzada, but we remember how great Calzada was in one game. Did Taylor Green just happen to have that day, is what I'm saying.
Well, apparently he's had that day, maybe not to that level.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean, to that level. He's always good, and then he had the great game.
Yeah. Let's just hope he's that good, and it's not a sign of the A&M defense.
I'm rooting for Arkansas the rest of the way. Every time they win, it's probably going to help A&M in some way.
Let's hear from Coach Elko, because one of the things he did discuss is how the game is played and how his team gets the feel for it. Here's Coach Elko on that.
Yeah, I do. I truly believe this. I believe this team gets a feel for the game. I do. And when one side of the ball has needed to step up, it has done it, right? Every single game, every single week, every single opportunity. And I just think they're getting a feel for that. And so I think it didn't take much to figure out that we were going to have a problem dealing with that kid tonight. It didn't take long to figure out we weren't on our game defensively tonight. And I think that just kind of triggered the offense into a little bit more focus, a little bit more being locked in, because that's how the game was going to have to go for us to win it.
Don't you still look forward to that game, though, that still hadn't had it yet, where the offense is on and the defense is on at the same time?
Yeah, but I'm glad that they have each other's back no matter the situation, right? Like, there have been games where the offense left some points out there, and thank goodness you had a good defense. This was one that you knew your offense to score pretty much every time they touched the ball.
When they put it together, and hopefully it'll be this week against LSU, but when they put it together, you're going to see A&M win a game something like, 42-14. Yep. You got a 42-14 out there somewhere, and Samford doesn't count.
That does not count. All right, let's get one more text in before we end the hour.
Yeah, this is from our premium chat. It says, the clock mismanagement before the half was awful. Letting them score gave them hope and changed the momentum.
Yeah, I thank you. Who was that? Was that Marty? It must
No
have been.
idea.
It must have been a scientist.
XCT87.
Okay, he must be a scientist because I mean that's dead on. Be smarter about clock management. That's the. I have a bigger issue with that than I do with the defense because sometimes those games like that are going to happen.
Bobby Petrino says, "Hold my beer."
Bobby Petrino butchered. I mean, he had a penalty. I mean, he had timeouts. He wouldn't take them. I'm like, what are you doing? Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Maybe that was his gift.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for that 1 year in College Station. That was great. My 8 months in town. Here you go. Here's the no timeouts because we can score on you anytime we want.
Thanks, Bobby.
Another thing I wanted to say real quick, OB, the defense. 4 sacks, 46 yards lost. So
was that one sack right after they got the ball? There was a 30-yard sack. Was that a thing of beauty? It was pretty much a Cassius Howell, Dayon Hayes made a Taylor Green sandwich.
Yes, they did.
That was beautiful.
And how about the Dalton Brooks blitz one that happened too?
Yes, that was
a beauty.
Great call.
Yeah, it was great.
You're not old enough to remember this, but it reminded me of a Bob Lilly, Larry Cole sack in like Super Bowl VI against the Dolphins for like a 30-yard loss.
Oh, goodness. All right, Obi, thank you very much.
Cowboy fans will remember that one.
When we come back, Marty.
I won't be here, but Marty Smith will be.
Marty Smith. Not a PhD, but a really kind human.
He might have a PhD.
In kindness.
PhD in kindness and football.
Yeah. He doesn't have Twitter fingers. No. He just has Twitter love. He's a nice guy. I'm
going to have to listen to that.
Yeah, it'll be good. We'll talk to Marty Smith on the other side. We'll get to Billy Liucci on the other side. And we'll get to your text messages at 979-693-1150. This is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, is now officially done. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for our weekly conversation with Marty Smith, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And they want to honor the military and first responders for all that you do. And from October 19th through November the 11th, they're showing their thanks with 10% off at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discounts. Exclusions do apply. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Marty Smith with us. Marty, good morning, buddy.
What's up, brother? Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. We just received a statement from Florida State. I know that's not your wheelhouse, but this is from Michael Alford, the VP and AD at FSU. And it basically says, the synopsis is that the standard at FSU is very high, globally and nationally. We expect to win. Quote, we embrace those expectations while also sharing the deep disappointment when results on the field are short of that standard. As we continue to move forward this season, our comprehensive assessment of the football program will be completed at season's end. Meanwhile, we are fully committed to helping Coach Norvell and the 2025 Seminoles strongly rebound in the coming weeks. So, I guess that tells you that the noise got loud enough where they felt like they needed to address it.
What do you think about that? Because in my head, I'm like, that only adds to the chatter right now. Like, if you don't say anything, he's still coaching.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just such a crazy time, and there's I feel like at this point, David, there are so many great jobs open now with Penn State and Florida now and Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State and Arkansas and on and on. Like, at some point, the athletics directors have to assess the talent pool that's out there. And it just makes it really interesting. I mean, there was a stat that I used on Marty and McGee last Saturday. When the hell was that? 2 days ago, I guess? Was that 2 days ago, man? Feels like 2 weeks ago. And I might get this wrong, but there are already now with Billy, there are as many firings as there were last season. And I got to look up the stat. My mind's escaping me on that. But anyway, there's so many people getting let go that it just speaks to what is expected now and the pressure on everybody that comes with the playoff and the wild equation that is college football right now. And so I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know what to make of it, because I think this is written in a way that's supposed to be supportive of Coach Norvell for the rest of the season. But it certainly suggests and or confirms that there is an assessment necessary. So it's a lot. Y'all don't have that problem down there, though.
No, we're pretty blessed with Coach Elko, but there's only so much money, Marty, for these programs, right? Like, I understand that there are big spenders out there, but if you're asking for NIL and you were asking 5 years ago for stadium renovations, and now you got to pay coaches off and bring in a new coach, and now your coach is being courted by this guy and you got to give him a raise. Like, there's only so much money to get everything done. And I don't like Penn State. They're just going to spend a lot of money on James Franklin to not be the coach, and whoever they poach is probably going to make the kind of money that we're seeing Cignetti get. So, like, where's this money going to come from?
Yeah, and that's a point of contention in the Penn State specific example. I've read a couple of articles about that where academia kind of meets athletics. And Urban Meyer, David, made a great point on his podcast last week about Penn State, that we're all thinking about this $48, $49 million number which there's been different reports about how accurate that number is and how that money's paid out. But it's not, we as consumers hear that number and go, oh man, it's nice to make that money and go somewhere else. But what we don't consider is the point you just made, that they also have to pay the staff. The outgoing staff, they also have to pay the entire incoming staff. So what you may think is a certain number, let's use 49, is actually 75. Or that's an arbitrary number. You know, don't quote me on the number, but then, you know, you start getting into, in some of these cases, you may be looking at 9 figures.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it comes from, man, because to your point, donor fatigue is a very real thing. And now with the oversight from Deloitte, with the various conglomerates that are raising that NIL money because of the House settlement, I don't know, man. I don't know. And where's it all going?
Marty, when you get it right.
I think about my NASCAR. I don't mean to interrupt. I think about my NASCAR life. You got to be careful what you wish for here, because with the SEC going to 9 games now and some sacred games being compromised, and I mean, you got to be real careful with the strategic way you look at all of this, because you don't want to get so fat and happy that tradition is compromised. You have to make sure that that's precious. And the money gets so crazy. I mean, this happened in NASCAR. The money gets so crazy that do you start to price out your consumers? Because at least in some way, shape, or form, that expenditure does make its way to the fan somehow, whether that's ticket increases, whatever that is. And I don't know where it comes from, bro. I don't. And it's concerning.
When you get it right, though, like A&M a couple years ago, 7-5, they had a national championship head coach that they fired after beating Mississippi State by like 30, right? And you get it right with Elko. Now, look, he's got to do it in November this year, right? There's still some things to prove, no doubt. But when you get it right, then I don't think money becomes a problem, right? When you get it right, it's well, but I mean, they still have to pay Jimbo's staff. They have to do this. They have to do that. Yep. They have NIL. You still, but it feels a lot better writing that check when you know, all right, here we are, 10-2, going to the SEC championship game. Hopefully, who knows how it plays out? But like, it feels a lot better writing that check as opposed to the 8-4 check.
What is the reason for every investment any of us make, David? Return on investment. Mm-hmm. It's all about ROI. And Texas A&M donors, fans, athletes, everybody is getting, certainly the athletic department, the president, chancellor, all the way down, everyone is getting a return right now, because what comes with victory? What comes with victory is admissions. And young people see Texas A&M football, Alabama football, Vanderbilt football, Tennessee football, even though Alabama beat them, Ole Miss football, Georgia football on television, national television every week, and they go, hey, Daddy, I want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. Because the human condition is we want belonging. We want to be a part of something. And that's why you're seeing this influx of admission from the Northeast, from the Midwest, coming south. And so that's just a fact. And out-of-state tuition is a financial boon to the university that in certain cases, Clark Lee right now, they're vastly underpaid. I remember people asking me all the time, Nick Saban's overpaid. Is Nick Saban overpaid? Nick Saban was underpaid at Alabama because the influx of students from outside of the state that were full tuition students was overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And so applications, I'm sure, at Texas A&M are up.
Marty, how concerned should A&M be, or A&M fans be, with the way that defense played against Arkansas?
They got to tackle. They got to tackle better. And Coach Elko, I thought, said it perfectly and very succinctly. We picked a bad time to have a bad day defensively. But I've said this to you before. Life is context and repetition. They gave up 218 yards rushing in the first half. They gave up 50 in the second half. So there were adjustments made at halftime that are obvious. When you give up a fourth of what you gave up in the first half, those were quality adjustments, and that speaks to the coaching. And so, yeah, they gave up a lot of points, but we talked about this last week. Everybody knew Arkansas was going to score points. It's what they do. And ultimately, the job is to win the game on the road. And so, yeah, I mean, some things have to be cleaned up. But I look at the context of how much better they were in the second half, even though, you know, I think they definitely did a good job of making sure late that Arkansas didn't beat them. But I bet they're getting their butts chewed a little bit this week.
I agree.
Because they have to play better than that if they want to ultimately fulfill the promise of what this season looks like.
Part of that promise is dispelling narratives or taking care of issues from the past, winning on the road against a top 10 team. They did that against Notre Dame. Now they have to go to a place they haven't won since 1993, an LSU team that just does not look like the team that we thought we'd see this year yet.
Agree.
And their season's on the line, right? So you got to go somewhere you haven't won in 30 years against a team that I think would have been better for A&M had they won against Vanderbilt. That being said, they're banged up. Their quarterback's hurt. Their offensive line is hurt. They got a defensive player who's hurt. But none of that matters on a night game in the SEC, especially in Baton Rouge, Marty.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest places to play in sports is, you know, Saturday night in Death Valley. And they'll be bowed up because now there's that criticism coming their way. Not having Whit Weeks against Vanderbilt was a critical absence for them with how dynamic Pavia is and Eli Stowers and what they do. They want to control the clock. They want to beat you down. And not having Whit was big for LSU. As far as Texas A&M is concerned, my God, they are so good right now offensively. They're playing complementary football. I love how they use that jet sweep motion a lot with Seven, Concepcion. I'm a football nerd. We use numbers. But it's so fun to watch how they're attacking defenses right now. Reed you can just feel his confidence, and he knows he has the weapons. Even not having a Le'Veon, it was sort of the running attack by committee. I think they had 3 guys with more than 50 yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a problem for defenses because you just don't know who's going to carry the football. And they're explosive. And so I really like what they're doing down there, what Coach Elko's built. Everybody's obviously all in, and it's working. And again, when those players are getting the return on the investment they're making from self-accountability perspectives, from peer-to-peer self-accountability perspectives, and then the numbers, because now in college football, numbers equal money. And so all of that is really paying off. But from the LSU side, incredibly disappointed down there. You can see it all over everybody's faces. But I do think that they're going to want to make a statement. So I don't think this is going to be easy for Texas A&M, man.
Brian Kelly, this week and next week, right? They got Alabama and A&M. This could define what his future looks like, right? Like,
brutal.
If he goes 1-1, they're probably thinking, all right, like, not great, but go ahead.
It's 2 of the best teams in America. All right. You could argue that Alabama and Texas A&M, you could argue both of them are the best team in America. Ohio State obviously is a buzzsaw. They're running through everybody, to quote Coach Saban, like doo-doo through a tin horn. But you could make the argument for these two football teams, and it's just, I don't envy Brian Kelly right now. I don't envy Shane Beamer right now. When you're going against this SEC schedule and you're not at full song, when you have injuries all over the place and that depletes your depth, and even if your starters are starting but they're banged up, like Garrett Nussmeier, and you're not able to go out there and be your true self, I don't envy it. It's just brutal.
At the top of the segment, you talked about it's about winning games, right? In Georgia, even though they had
That's the job.
That's the job, right? Georgia's finding ways to win games. I know they lost the Bama game, and they haven't looked like the Georgia team that we're used to. They got one loss, and they just beat a top 10 team in Ole Miss. Kirby finds ways. Gunner gets a lot of flack. Gunner's been good. Talk about Georgia's run this year.
They are a problem. Georgia's a problem because if they don't start, they have to start starting faster, and they know that, and Kirby talks about that. But their resolve and their ability to adjust at halftime and their ability defensively to see what the other team is doing in the first half and be so much better in the second half, that there is so much value to that. And I said this last week about Alabama. Alabama won 3 consecutive games against elite competition, won by 1 score. And there is redeeming value to that. There is value in the future of that because you know you can do it. There's a psychological component there that Bama has and Georgia has. We know we can come back. We've done it against really good teams. And they even came back against Alabama, even though Alabama won the game. They came all the way back from way back against Tennessee. They came all the way back from 2 scores in the second half against Ole Miss, which is an offensive wonderkind. So I think that's valuable to Georgia. And it has to be that has to give Kirby so much confidence in his young men that they're doing this. And God, they're beating great teams, man. I mean, Ole Miss is a really good team. Tennessee's a really good team, even though they're now a couple loss team. But I really like Georgia.
Marty, let me close out with this. Texas not able to move the ball against Kentucky on the road. They end up getting the win. That's what matters. That's what we talked about. But in most games this year, outside of maybe the fourth quarter against Ohio State and Oklahoma, that offense has struggled. They can't run the ball effectively. Is this who they are at this point?
They confuse me, man. They were really adept at establishing the run against Oklahoma, which is one of the best defenses in America. You know Mark Stoops is going to put together a good defensive game plan. You know that's what he's going to do. And they love to grind you down. That's Kentucky football. But I was surprised that Texas wasn't able to be a little more explosive. So maybe it is who they are. Maybe it is. But they won the game. And, man, this league, it almost doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're going to be in a battle. Arkansas's down. Arkansas's, they fired their head coach. They can't stop a nosebleed. And they gave y'all everything you wanted. And same thing for like Mark Stoops, they're not going to quit on him, man. They're just not going to. And so for Sark and for Arch to get out of there and they got to win, they got to win. But I think if they want to fulfill what their expectations are, they got to be a little more explosive. And because they were able to establish the run against Oklahoma the way they were with Trey Wisner, they were able to be a little more explosive. And they're going to need to do that, I think.
Marty, great stuff as always, my friend. Thanks for making some time.
Always. Thank you, guys. Have an awesome week.
You too. Marty Smith on the Buppies Catering Bartending Hotline. The best. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back, I think we'll have Billy Liucci on the phone or in the studio. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggie land, or you already live here in the Bryan-College Station area in the Brazos Valley, and you're looking for a new opportunity, maybe you can check out the Association of Former Students, because they have openings from time to time, and I know they have one, I think it's in communications. I was talking to Randy the other day, but they have openings, right? So if you're interested in moving to the area, that might be a great place to start your search. They're seeking to hire professionals to join their team. They're the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting Texas A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association during their awesome events held throughout the year. Howdy Social, Aggie Ring Day, which they just had, and class reunions, you name it, Aggie Muster as well. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs and to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and we're going to tap dance for a few minutes. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, always with the insight. Ella, good morning again.
Morning again.
What do you have for us?
One of the comments said, if Marcel can hit one more gear in November, he could win the Heisman. There really is no clear front runner.
Let me think about this for a second. I would love to see him get invited. For him to be invited, they got to be 11-1, 10-2 in that range, right? Or 12-0, obviously, which would be awesome if he's 12-0. Come on, yo. But I think one of the things that might hurt Marcel, it's not even a real hurt, it's actually like a compliment, is that this team is so good at complementary football. They don't just win because of Marcel, right? They win because, as Coach Elko talked about earlier, the complementary football, like the defense has that day. They didn't have it this weekend. They didn't have it at South Bend, but they have that day. The offense finds ways. Is it Reuben Owens? Is it Le'Veon Moss when healthy? Is it Mario Craver with 200 yards? Right? Like there are different ways that this team can beat you. How about the way Coach Elko and his team and Jay Bateman go into halves and they diagnose a problem? I'm probably going to ask him about that. Like what goes into diagnosing an issue? Because I know that Arkansas was able to score a lot on A&M. I know that, right? But they did stop the running game somewhat in the second half. Like, what was it? How many yards did they have rushing, Nick, in the first half? 202, something like that?
Yeah, something like that in the first half.
And
second half was like 50-ish around there.
Now, part of those numbers were taken back because of all the sacks, right? But like they ran the ball.
That goes into it.
Yeah, that does go into it, right? So now Taylor Green was unstoppable all game long, and that part of that might be like he made certain players on the A&M defense look slow that don't normally look slow. Like that's how fast that he glided.
Very different build of a player, but he like. I remember Jalen Hurts being a lot like that in football. It's like, dude, like they can't bring him down, right? I know Hurts has a lot more weight on him, but still.
Well, and the other thing I'll say about that too is I got to give Taylor Green props because a year and a half ago, and again, everything's evolving. You get more information. I was like, this dude ain't going to be as good as KJ Jefferson.
He's better.
That dude's better than KJ Jefferson. And I thought KJ Jefferson was a dog, right? This dude is better. Back to the question. I don't think I even answered it. If this team is 11-1, 12-0, 10-2, yeah, I'd love to see him invited. But one of the beauties about this team is they are the epitome of a team. They have each other's backs. And, I think people who vote for the Heisman catch highlights and parts of games. So hopefully there's a lot of highlights on Marcel Reed, getting it to Craver, getting it to KC, getting to Ashton Bethel. By the way, we've gone 29 minutes. I don't think we've talked enough about Ashton Bethel Roman's stats. Nick, I was watching the game with you, and you gave a shout out to our interview, The Huddle, right? We had him on this past week. Shout out to United and, of course, to the 12th Man Foundation. But that dude had himself a game. He had, 4 receptions, 83 yards, had that touchdown, had the long of 37. He was huge for this team. And we heard Bobby Petrino talk about it early on in the week, like, they were going to try to do whatever they could to take out the 2 best wide receivers on A&M's roster, in Casey and Mario. That's all right. Terry Bussey might have his day next week, and Ashton Bethel had his this past week. So congratulations.
I think the best part about it is we hadn't, the film wasn't out there on ABR, right? We've talked about him. We knew his ability here, but we hadn't seen it in a game yet. So now going forward, everyone's got to prepare for Mario, for KC, and now they know ABR can produce and have that big game too. So like you just said, maybe it's Bussey next.
Maybe it is Terry Bussey next. Let's get one more in.
Okay, this one says, the only team with an offense left on our schedule is Missouri.
Let me think about this. Based on the evidence so far, LSU is who they are. Missouri is pretty good. South Carolina hasn't been good. Stanford hasn't been good. And Texas at home, I think if they got up for the Oklahoma game, they're going to get up for the A&M game. So I get it. That the level, but again, I think I would have been a little bit more okay if the tackling was better in that game, right? There were some tackling issues. There was a couple times where they had Mike Washington. I was like, they got him. No, they don't. They got Taylor Green. No, they don't. And it was too reminiscent of the game against South Carolina. All right, we'll hit a break here. And we'll come back. I think Billy is maybe in the lobby. Do I hear him? No, I hear somebody talking loud. Maybe it's Bronny. Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you own a business, place to go to get your vehicle because they have great deals on commercial vehicles. If you own nothing, you just want to drive a car, they got the hookups there as well. You don't have to own a business to get a hookup at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, and they've expanded their selection of vehicles to meet your everyday need. And when it comes to trucks, they got them all. From the heavy duties to the flatbeds to the medium duties, they can handle those tough jobs. They've got the muscle to handle your daily demands, no doubt about it. And they're also a newly designated business elite dealer, which means they know what it takes to keep your company moving forward. And every vehicle comes with that awesome guarantee of a free oil change for life. It's legendary, folks, because they believe in supporting local families and businesses like they support Aggie athletics. Remember, it's a 15-minute drive the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation and wait, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find executive editor and co-owner of TexAgs, Billy Liucci. Billy, good morning, buddy.
David, what's happening?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I feel like we just talked yesterday.
We did, but we can expand and extrapolate, right? We can take it to new places.
Let's go.
So
I figured we'd be. I'll come in studio at 10 today. We're over here working on a cover story.
Okay. Well, let's. I want to extrapolate on something that Luke put in his notes on his stats. Marcel Reed is the 14th Aggie to eclipse 4,000 career passing yards. He's averaging 252.9 passing yards per game this season, which puts him on pace for 3,287 yards in a 13-game season. That would be fifth most all-time in a single season at A&M, behind Johnny Manziel, Ryan Tannehill, and Gerard Johnson. I just say that to you so you can use that as a talking point.
Well, I just think what we saw on Saturday night from Marcel, he's doing what a lot of those guys have done, kind of rolled into one. Marcel has proven he can be kind of a game manager and just, navigate a close SEC game for 4 quarters without feeling like he has to make every play and win the game by himself or put the world on his back. But he also has shown a couple times this year and last year against, say, LSU, and that he can do that. He's capable of doing that. He's had a flair for the dramatic, much like Johnny did. Hell, all the way till Saturday night, had that touchdown run y'all were talking about earlier not been called back, that's very reminiscent of Johnny's run against Louisiana Tech. Just in terms of the timing and icing a game on the road in the fourth quarter in pretty spectacular fashion, almost from the same spot on the field, going in the same direction. So there's been a lot. Marcel is having a season that warrants Heisman consideration as we sit through 7 games. And Heisman should be, anyway, as Olin knows, given away after a full season, not seven games. We're aware of that. But if you hit a stop point today, Marcel Reed should be in the discussion. Again, like I said a few weeks ago, I'm not lobbying for him to lead the race, but in a wide open race, he's got as good a chance as a lot of guys. And the reason why is because of his team and because he can have a game like he did the other night where I think he threw the ball exceptionally well, like 9 out of 10 well. Like I had somebody tell me, oh, if he would have made that throw to Craver accurately again, like, shut up. Like, stop doing that in a 60-minute game with a quarterback. How about the throw to Bethel Roman? How about all the throw, the touchdown to Concepcion, the key third down pass to Ruben, who made a great catch on it, by the way. The runs when it was, when he saw the sticks and could get them. You had Bobby Petrino lamenting that last night. We talk about what Taylor Green did. Marcel Reed was better in that game because he didn't take, and Petrino was lamenting the not being able to sack Marcel and the sacks that his quarterback gave up that were killers, where he's got to throw it away. The fourth down throw where Taylor Green missed what could have been a wide open touchdown. Marcel didn't do those things on Saturday. So for as much as we're sitting here going, damn, Taylor Green was exceptional, which he was. Our guy was better. Your guy was better. Number 10 was better. He does it in a different way. It's spectacular at times, and at other times it's winning football. And that's what he played. And he, 4 touchdowns, 350 yards. If it's not for a BS holding call, he's going for 405 touchdowns on the road in a close game without a turnover in the SEC. And then you combine that with what he did at Notre Dame. He's had a Heisman moment there, beating Notre Dame essentially on the final play on 4th and 11, not to mention what he did that whole game. I mean, he's been exceptional. It's been one of the best years I've ever seen. It's been one of the best half seasons I've ever seen from an A&M quarterback. And the thing is, Marcel's getting better and better. And if you don't see that, I think everyone sees that. Anyone can see that he's just continuing to improve. He's not the finished product yet, which is exciting. And it's exciting because he's got great pass catchers. He's got take the top off guys. He's got take a short pass and turn it into big gain guys. He's got a running game, and he's got a great offensive line. And I think he's got an offensive coordinator that really understands his quarterback and vice versa. So they've got a nice thing going. He's in that conversation. He should be anyway. And the beauty is you're going to Death Valley this weekend in a high-profile game because anything against LSU is high-profile. You're going to have a top 25 showdown a week later in a game that could be pretty damn exciting. And if Missouri can figure out, if the Aggies can figure out Death Valley and Missouri can figure out Diego Pavia, hell, that's probably like a college game day borderline top 10 game. Missouri probably sitting in the top 12. So, and then you've obviously got a game later in the season to end the regular season that the whole world will be watching. So, and if the Aggies keep winning, then you're going to start hearing more and more people ask, why not the guy in maroon and white wearing number 10 as a legit candidate? That's the next step. But he's playing that well, man. I'm sorry. I mean, in a year where there's not, I would make the same case for Pavia out of the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, Ty Simpson's certainly in the mix, but Ty's getting that mention. I don't think Diego and Marcel are getting it quite as much as they should. Pavia might after this past weekend, but yeah, I mean, I think when you're talking about players out of this league that are going to be in that conversation, who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting someone.
Let's see.
That I'm not going to say Ahmad Hardy. I'm not going to say
Jeremiah Love.
No, I'm talking about in the SEC.
Oh, and just in the SEC?
I think Simpson, Pavia, and Reed. If somebody might try to shoehorn Gunnar Stockton in there, but that's not true. Not so far.
If Trinidad Chambliss, I guess, if Ole Miss figures it out after that loss to Georgia. But yeah, right now those are the three.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like the difference with Marcel and some other guys is his highs and lows. You know, I think if you did highs and lows, like he's so steady in the middle, and that's why I think he's got staying power not just for this year, for this week, but for his career. He just keeps getting better. It was really interesting this week, leading into the game and coming out of the game, to just kind of listen to Bobby Petrino, and because he was here when Marcel got here. And he watched a young, very raw Marcel Reed. If I'm not mistaken here, I don't think that was his hand-picked recruit there. I think that was actually Miles O'Neill the following season, who, by the way, continues to impress. He and Brady Hart, I think, are two good young quarterbacks here. But, with Marcel, just to listen to Petrino pregame and postgame, and I think he got a real look at the improvement that Reed has made at A&M, and you could tell that I thought Petrino he's interesting to listen to. I think he's a hell of a ball coach. I don't know if he, if long term he can run that thing and get it to where they want it to be. I mean, I think that time is coming on, but just listening to him is interesting to me. And I heard him talk about Marcel during the week, and then after the game, you can tell that Marcel opened his eyes pretty significantly.
Billy, one other thing about Marcel, he's been doubted since he got on campus, yet you don't, maybe he uses it as motivation, but he seems to walk with this class and whatever the moment is, he just kind of embraces it, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He just kind of goes about his business.
Yeah, no, that's how he is. But obviously in game, everybody's seen it. But there's also a competitive fire that burns with that kid that he can say he's not. He can say it doesn't. I'm not saying it gets to him. I don't think it does, but he hears it all. You know, he hears it all. And he knows what the skeptics were saying. He knows that he was kind of not really talked about this offseason. When he was, you know, anything outside of A&M, it wasn't in the most glowing terms. I think even some people that cover this team kind of weren't expecting much from him, you know. And I always disagreed with that. I didn't know how close he was going to come to the ceiling, but I knew he had a high ceiling, and I knew he was going to be significantly improved this year. And both of those things are true, but I think he's a lot closer to that ceiling and to as good as you could have hoped for this year. Really from day one. I mean, you really saw it against UTSA and Utah State, and he's just kept going from there. And obviously it took to another level against Notre Dame. But it is interesting on games where, when you look at games coming up, Nuño, when you look at what's left in the schedule, right? Prebula wasn't a guy that, you know, everyone was talking about. But outside of that, he's playing Garrett Nussmeier this weekend. He's playing Lenore Sellers in a few weeks here at Kyle Field. And he'll end the regular season playing against Arch Manning. And those are three guys that got 90% of the preseason hype, along with kind of inexplicably, you know, Austin Simmons, who doesn't even really play at Ole Miss, ironically enough. But all those names are getting so much more chatter and generating so much more hype. And it really felt like, you know, guys like Reed and Pavia, who had both, to whatever degree, proved a hell of a lot last year, like what they had proven last year was almost like held against them because people weren't able to like implement very much imagination because they felt like, okay, we've seen them, but with our imagination, we can imagine what we're going to see from, you know, Arch. But with Sellers and Nussmeier, it was like people were ignoring the inconsistencies and some of the issues there that could hold them back and just kind of glossing over them while trying to hold it against guys like Marcel and Diego.
Really got to drop it there. We'll see you here in studio in a few.
All right,
Later. Billy Liucci there. On the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, we'll hit a break, tap dance for a minute or two, then we'll close out the 9 o'clock hour. Milliken Reserve Farm-to-Table Community in College Station. They just had Pumpkin Palooza. Love to say that word several times. They have awesome homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces, and their mission is to build a healthy community around nature. They're dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community and respect for that native landscape. They have 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails and homes, and they want to connect families to nature and to each other. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that includes walking and equestrian paths. They have creeks, they have ponds, they have gathering areas, and they have a variety of native species that make their homes there in the preserve woods, the ponds, and the gathering areas. Great place to go see white-tailed deer, songbirds, rabbits, and turtles. And they provide a natural setting for people to connect with each other. Go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it, you can do it all at Milliken Reserve. Learn more about it at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. Check it out. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. Final segment of the 9 o'clock hour, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. There is a post on TexAgs.com about Marty, the PhD.
There is.
Marty had some points. I don't think he liked that I responded, but he had some points. I never disagreed with that. I wonder if it was Marty who put that post, though. Anyway, good times. I'm going to read this from Caden Schwartner. He doesn't get credit for it. He's just posting what SEC Mike posted, or that SEC podcast, that SEC podcast post. Mike Elko, 5-2 in one-score games. That's the best in the SEC. Kirby Smart, 23-10. Pretty darn good, by the way. Drink, 18-9, who could be a hot name for Florida. I think that would work out well for A&M, by the way. Lane Kiffin, 16-8. Josh Heupel, 10-5. Let's see. Hugh Freeze, all the way at the bottom at 2-9. Sark, 10-15 at number 12. All right. We will hit a break. When we come back, probably a minute or two of tap dancing and Billy Liucci after that. That and more is TexAgs Live. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy should be here in studio soon. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan's been there all morning. And Ella, I know people have been telling you things.
People have been telling me a lot of things. That Aggie kid says, I do think Elko is the guy. Road defense is my only concern. And I'm not saying it can't be good. I'm just saying I would like the offense to not have to carry when the defense doesn't show up.
You would like, say that again? He
would like the offense to not have to carry when the defense doesn't show up.
Well, I disagree. I want the offense to carry when the defense doesn't show up, because who's going to carry if the defense doesn't show up, right? No, I know what you're getting at. Look, Notre Dame's got a really good offense. If I sound like I'm justifying, I'm just trying to talk to you about things. There's somebody has sent a text, and maybe you already read it. I don't think you have, about they've played two of the best offenses and two of the best defenses this year. Somebody had sent that. And the reality is people don't want to give credit to Auburn's defense, but Auburn's got a great defense. People don't want to give credit to Florida's defense. They have a great defense. People don't want to give credit to Arkansas's offense. They got one of the best offenses in the country. Notre Dame does as well. So the reality is they have to play better regardless of the offense. You can't tackle and have the misfits that they had in the game this past weekend against Arkansas. You cannot have that and expect to go win in Death Valley. Okay. Are you going to take on that level of offense? No, you're not. Are you going to take on a significantly better defense? I think you are. Okay? So you're going to have to be better. Not Notre Dame. LSU's averaging, 26 points a game to A&M's 36. Different opponents. I understand all that. They have a hard time running the ball. A&M doesn't have a hard time running the ball, even without Le'Veon Moss. Look, I don't know if I've ever picked A&M to win at LSU. I think I did in 21. But the way they're playing, I will probably pick them on Friday. I feel very good about the fact that they can run the ball on just about anyone. And I think that Coach Elko has been a master at self-diagnosing issues and fixing it. And I think some of the issues we saw this week were some tackling issues and some misfits. And again, you're not going to take on a quarterback that will run the way Taylor Green was able to run. Even if Michael Van Buren runs, he ain't Taylor Green. It's just, that's the fact of it. And with
we're worried about now is Van Buren. Or
yes, somebody texted in about Van Buren. Yes.
Did they say? Was there some formal announcement, or are they just thinking because Nussmeier's so banged up and ineffective?
Regardless, whoever quarterbacks for them, I feel good about this A&M team going on the road.
Taylor Green runs around back there like he's Vince Young.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, a running quarterback is always more problematic if they're effective throwing it. I think we saw the best of Van Buren last year in Starkville. He was on for a while. No, I mean, Texas A&M's defense, we were worried about Arkansas. They scored a touchdown with 10 seconds left. Thank you. Oh, Nick.
The worst pass
Not a
ever.
good bartender.
No.
You got to be able to slide it. They scored a touchdown with 10 seconds left to get to 42. It's way too many. There's a world where that game's 35 points, which wouldn't have shocked me. I still wouldn't have been pleased with it. But this guy's like scrambling for 30, 20, 40 yards on plays that you have covered up that aren't designed for him to do that. And yeah, it's easy to say, well, you can't lose contain like that. But on that guy, it's very difficult. He steps up, slides out, and then he sees anything and he's gone. I do think in some ways that got I don't think consciously that didn't get to Marcel, but I think when you're in a game and the other guy's doing that, there's some level, whether you think it or not, of like, I can do that too. And he did, and Marcel would have had a 100-yard game himself had it not been for that one call back, and he ran very effectively. But I'm just telling you, Taylor Green, like the way he's playing, it is, I'm going to say he's the best quarterback in the SEC because I don't think he is. But I think he's the most difficult to stop if they get a running game going. Put it that way. And he can throw. He's not like I think he's so much better than Sellers just from the standpoint of how he can throw the football. And he's got a better coach coaching him at quarterback.
Would you like to hear his stats? I know they've lost 5 in a row, but let me tell you his stats on the year. He threw for 322, 239, 305, 325, 207, 256, 256. He's rushed for 41, 151, 115, 53, 81, 63, 85.
He's one of the SEC's leading rushers. I'm just telling you, if you watch him play.
22 touchdowns on the year, by the way.
If you watch him play, he looks like Vince Young. The way he runs, the size, almost like the way he throws. He throws it better than Vince did until his senior year. But I'm just saying, if you put Taylon Green on a winning football team and a winning football program, he'd be in that conversation too right now.
Yeah,
and he made the mistake of leaving Boise for a loser. Not Sam Pittman, but a loser. Like Arkansas is a loser right now in college.
Can you imagine
football.
Boise with him?
Yeah, I mean he is the toughest quarterback to defend. I believe that A&M will play this season, and he shredded them. It was a defense played poorly. Even though he's that tough, you have to play better. I mean, most teams that Arkansas plays will not get carved up to that extent. I mean, so whereas I could tell you, hey, A&M did more of a number on the Florida Gator defense than anyone that Florida's played this year. You also have to say Taylon Green and that Arkansas offense carved up A&M like they as much as they have anybody they've played this year. So I thought it was a bad matchup. I was worried about it. You were particularly worried if they could get going, and you let it get go, even though they were ripping off chunks of yards from the very first drive. But you really let them have life there at the end of the half, and it looked like you'd knocked him out of the game, which is even more crazy how he played.
Well, let's kind of go through resume, and not necessarily who's got the biggest win, but A&M has taken on 2 very good offenses. They've taken on some really good defenses. Regardless of record, I'm just talking about the facts of these games that some have been closer than we want. Arkansas is in that
How
mix.
many, though? Arkansas and Auburn, closer than we want, but...
Because I think that the score is not indicative, the Auburn game, of how much A&M beat them.
Because you were a holding call away from beating Arkansas by 17 or 10 if they would have gone down and scored again. 17 or 10, which is a cover, a road cover. 17 would have been an easy road cover. You smashed the cover against Mississippi State, which was a very large line. You smashed the cover against Florida. The only other one you didn't was, you were an underdog on the road against Notre Dame. The only one you didn't in a meaningful games was Auburn. And again, like you said, I'll say that Texas A&M beat Auburn worse than anybody has this year. Hugh Freeze would tell you that. DJ Durkin would tell you that. Anyone with a brain larger than a pea, football-wise, would tell you that. They beat them worse than Oklahoma. And by the score, none of these are, maybe one of them is true. Missouri went to OT with them. I watched the end of that game the other night. Auburn, all they got to do is catch a pass. Jackson Arnold actually threw an accurate pass. Cam Coleman dropped a walk-in touchdown on a deep ball that he finally hit him in. I don't know what these highlights are, but the guy dropped a pass on 3rd down that would have put him in field goal range with about two and a half minutes left to win the game. He dropped it right through his hands. They would have had 1st down from like inside the 35, and who knows. Missouri went to OT with them, complete dogfight, evenly matched teams. Georgia, had it not been for a faulty call on a fumble, goes down 17-0 at halftime to them. And then we know what happened in Oklahoma. Texas A&M beat their ass at Kyle Field in every conceivable way except the scoreboard. So, man, this is what I expected in Fayetteville. I don't understand how anyone could not have expected it, considering the rivalry, considering where it was, considering the weirdness of that all-day delay and Petrino's return, and again, the matchup. 45-42, I would have said like 41-34. I wouldn't have been shocked at all. 38-31 wouldn't have shocked me at all. So it wasn't that far off. My only thing coming out of it where I was frustrated was just the ease at which Arkansas was ripping off chunks of yardage. It's not so much, I mean, the point total, yes, but again, it took like a miracle of was it a third and 30 or
second and 30?
Second and 30, and then didn't they have a 4th and 15 or something that he ran for like 40 yards? Like, it took all that to get that last touchdown drive in, but it's more about the yards. The how they gave the yards up, the chunks like that, because it wasn't all Taylor Green. Some of it was running backs just ripping up yards. There were passes. Look, they had 100 yard. They had before sacks. They had 200-yard rushers. They had a 100-yard receiver, and Taylor Green got them, throwing the ball a little bit as well. So.
Braylon Russell was a Mack truck, too.
Yeah, Russell and Washington. Are you serious that New Mexico State came in here to Kyle Field last year with both of those running backs? That's insane to me that they came in here with, Seth McGowan and Washington. That's wild.
He could have used the ball 1 or 2 more times against Texas.
Yeah, I know, right? Instead of that leapfrog they brought in. Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Randy Macho Man's brother.
Please go jump over the goal line. But remember, you have to jump. You're trying still to go forward. This is not a vertical leap competition that you're trying to do. I'd never seen anything like that. But anyway, just go win the game in Arkansas. Same thing with this weekend. Like, go beat LSU in Death Valley. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how you have to get it. We all know what we would prefer. We all know what we would love to see. But you're at a point now, if you're Texas A&M, where it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, who cares what anyone says? Now you are positioned that if you keep winning, they can't do anything with you. And I'm going to tell you, if anyone's actually worried about where somebody places A&M in their poll, whether it's the national or the SEC, if it's, I saw brothers up in arms that Doring moved A&M down to 4, and it's like, yeah, I completely disagree with that. I could argue all day about why the hell are we, what are we doing with Georgia? And you can start doing all these transitives because you can do it with A&M, you could do it with Georgia, you could do it with Bama. Everyone's just forgotten that Bama lost to Florida State, who's terrible, and got their asses hammered
again.
I mean, they got pummeled by Florida State, and they're winning close games against teams that I don't think are that good. Outside of maybe Missouri, who I don't think is that good, but they're good.
Well, they've beaten ranked teams.
Yeah,
that's the why.
No, I get it, but I'm saying like people are, man.
I think that's the problem, though, Billy.
Like these teams are not. Like Vandy should have beaten Alabama. Pavia doesn't fumble in there. Pavia doesn't like it. I'm okay with Bama. This Georgia thing. Ole Miss has beaten LSU. Is the most impressive thing they've done. Tennessee shoulda, coulda, woulda lost to Mississippi State.
Yep.
They were real fortunate in that one. Their defense,
Arkansas game.
They took a miracle to beat Georgia. Georgia took a miracle to beat them. I'm not that. Georgia doesn't do it for me yet. Like,
here's the thing, Billy. Everybody's got some holes that we can all poke at, and every fan base is doing it right now. Like, who's A&M beat? Who's Georgia beat? Who's Ole Miss?
So here's the thing. Who is Georgia beaten that's more impressive than A&M beating Notre Dame? If you want to say Ole Miss because of the rankings, then you don't watch football. Notre Dame would absolutely beat Ole Miss.
Yeah. You
watch the games and you know they're a better football team than Ole Miss. So I just don't. And look, A&M, watch the games right now. The Aggies are really good. Should they be number one? No, Ohio State should. And by the way, their best thing they've done is beat a Texas team that everybody knows is fraudulent right now. They're 5-2, and they're playing like they're 2-5. So that's the best thing Ohio State's done. But you watch them and you know. You watch A&M and you know they should be a top 5 team, and that's okay. So I don't care if somebody's got them 5, if somebody's got them 3, 2, or 1. It doesn't really matter.
Get invited to the party and take care of business.
But you want to change some narratives. Go beat LSU, and again, like LSU's a 2-loss team. They don't want Brian Kelly around in Baton Rouge, but there's something about winning in Death Valley at night. It's going to get you spotlight. It's going to get you the street cred that some people are still unwilling to give to you. There's something about beating the purple and gold at night in Baton Rouge, and you saw how much credit A&M got for beating LSU last year. Now, that was a top 10 LSU team, but it was a 1-loss LSU team. You beat them, and it gets people's attention. And by the way, you beat them, and you go into a bye week at 8-0, and I just think people will start looking at A&M's results. They'll start going, oh, they've won in South Bend, in Fayetteville, in Baton Rouge. They've beaten, that 5 by your name in the SEC. You're 5-0 in the SEC with only 3 to play. And then when people start looking at that Aggie schedule, they're going to go, well, they could very well beat Missouri. They should beat South Carolina. And people like right now this week are going to look that have nothing to do with maroon and white or burnt orange, and they're going to say they should also beat Texas. That's what people in the country are going to do when they can look at the A&M schedule and go, oh, that's all they've got left? Are those 3? So if you beat LSU, I think a lot of eyeballs of people that have just been reluctant to kind of go all in on the credit will.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. What really matters is if you win this game this weekend and you defend your home field against South Carolina, you are somebody on our Luchador thread was like, we can't get in at 10. You probably won't get in at 10-2 because you'll lose 2.
Oh, I saw that.
Like, I completely disagree with you. I get the point. I've been saying it all year. There's going to be potentially a glut of teams at 10, which is why Notre Dame winning over USC was so significant, in my opinion, because if A&M's a 10-win team, unlike a lot of those teams that maybe from the SEC, the Aggies will have a win on the road against probably a playoff team. That is a game changer for the Aggies' resume. And again, no one in Bright is saying let's go 10-2 right now. Texas A&M's favored this weekend. Texas A&M, if there was a line today, I bet you money they'd be favored in Austin. I think they'd be favored in Columbia slightly. The goals have changed, and I think they should. I think you should recalibrate what you're aiming for. But my point is, if you get by LSU, like I don't know what these percentages factor in and stuff, but I think A&M would be like a top 3 team in college football, like one of these like odds to make the playoffs. And this would be a massive one, just like avoiding that loss to Arkansas was massive. Because imagine where we'd be sitting today, thinking you have to win in Baton Rouge, you have to go get one in Columbia or Austin on top of winning in Baton Rouge, and you've got this ugly defeat on your resume. Yeah. I think they avoided a really bad setback up there, and that was the whole goal. That was all they needed to do.
We'll hit a break.
Thank you. We'll hit a break. I'm David Nuño. He's Billy Liucci.
I don't actually do that very much.
She's Ella Ryan, and this is TexAgs Radio.
That would be the way to do it. By the way, TexAgs Radio was so 2 years ago.
Oh, this is TexAgs Live.
Yeah.
We're going live.
We're going live. When insurance matters most, Billy's going to answer your call. Actually, no, the folks at Rollo Insurance are going to answer your call. You'll get a personal agent with a direct phone number to them, not a call center, not an automated system. As the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live, Rollo brings the difference every time that they do their work. 60 great offices in the state of Texas. Whether it's home, auto, or business, or ranch insurance, start a relationship with an expert who puts you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your specific situation, and they want to provide a customized protection plan that mass market insurers simply cannot do. When you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows you by name. That's the Rollo difference. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO today. That is 888-44-ROLLO. It is Rollo Insurance.
Yes.
And we're back. He's Billy Liucci.
Renowned physicist.
He got 120 in a class. I'm David Nuño. Maybe got an 80 in that same class. And we're breaking things down. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I feel like the numbers, because Taylor Green was so good, that we kind of gloss over the fact that they sacked him 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
They had the 6 hurries. Most human beings don't move the way Taylor Green does. So the pass rush was certainly in effect. They got out of their lanes at times, for sure.
Well, and that's difficult lanes to, and I'm sure Elko and those players would say, no, we shouldn't have done that. But it's difficult. I watched one play where I think, it looked like, Torian was he was either spying him or he was just being a smart player and he had eyes on him. And then right at the last second, Taylor Green made a move and Torian thought, I've got him. I'm going to get him for a short sack or no gain here. He's going to come right through this hole. And he stepped up. And again, this is not like making the wrong bite on a running play where you read the blocking wrong. You're not gap sound, which was happening to A&M early in that game for the linebackers. He just was watching what Taylor Green did and took a step up to make a play where it looked like he was going, and then he just pops it outside and runs for, I think it was one of the very first, it might have been the first long run he had, or one of the first couple. And it's just like, it's difficult. It's really difficult. And that's a good, heady linebacker. And then as soon as you take a wrong step with him, you're not the guy that's going to tackle him because you ain't outrunning an angle on Taylor Green. I don't care who you are. Maybe like a Dalton Brooks. There's very few people on that A&M defense that are going to outrun an angle on him. By the way, I think Marcel Reed on his touchdown run that wasn't hit an all-time, his personal best speed in game. They tracked the stuff, and that was the fastest Marcel's run in an A&M uniform, which is really saying something in Game 7. Now in year 3 on campus. So he's just, somebody that's really benefiting. People want to see him pack on more weight and this and that, but I mean, he's really benefiting. The weight room is more than just adding pounds, which he has. He just hasn't, he's still skinny, but there's more to it.
Well,
it's things like speed and agility and quickness and all of those things that Tommy Moffitt works on.
When I'm watching that play, because I'm watching it on TV, not in the stadium, I can only see what the screen is showing you. I'm like, all right, he's probably going to slide soon. Oh, he's probably going to slide soon. And he just kept on going. And then he was picking up speed those last 20 yards.
No, he had a hell of a game, man. He really did. And he's had a hell of a season. A lot of guys had a hell of a game, though. And the beauty of that one the other night, for me, as you look, and there's 5 regular season games left, and hopefully one in Atlanta, and hopefully at least, more than one after that. But the beauty of it is we were sitting there in Game 7, and here comes E.J. Smith, and here comes Ashton Bethel-Roman, and in the last couple of weeks, here comes Deion Hayes, and in the last few weeks, now we're kind of used to it, but here comes Damian Sanford. They just keep getting contributions from guys, and Jamarian Morrow, who last week Morrow has the touchdown. Hayes with the big sack. He was the SEC D lineman of the week. The week before, a couple weeks before against Auburn, he does it. And then it's Morrow last week with the big touchdown catch. It was Reuben Owens against Mississippi State going for 140 when Le'Veon was banged up. And now this week, it's E.J. Smith coming in that second half and being absolute stud. It's Ashton Bethel-Roman with a career game, and the first time we really saw him heavily involved in the passing game. And I would contend that E.J. and Ashton Bethel-Roman may have turned in the 2 biggest plays of the game.
Yeah.
E.J. with that fourth. I was starting to write it, and I realized I didn't. On my plays of the game, I think we talked about it on the Luchador maybe, but it was E.J.'s 4th down run.
Yep.
Because like y'all said, you're giving the ball back to them inside the 35, up 3, early 4th. But, by the time they go in and score, there might be 8 minutes left and you're down or tied. your minimum, you're probably tied. You might be trailing for the first time since 3-0, getting the ball in a raucous environment in the fourth quarter, and E.J. Smith makes an incredible 2-yard run where that thing got blown up, and he responded. Not to mention the other runs he had where he looked so good. Ashton Bethel-Roman's catch on that same drive, that was a sensational throw and catch, and that kind of took them from let's get this drive going to, okay, they're going to go down and score. And then I think on the exact same drive was Reuben Owens with that third down catch that I talked about. So all of those things had to happen for, here's the catch right here by Bethel-Roman, and he had already scored the touchdown earlier. Terrific catch right there. And he can do that. He can do that all the time. He does it consistently in practice. He's done it consistently since really late last season, but especially the spring. So all of that had to happen for A&M to go up 10 there, and essentially. And then the other one that came right after that was immediately after that was that 30-yard sack or whatever it was, 20-yard sack. That was Howell and Hayes that combined for that one, and that was a game changer because that changed the entire clock thing. It threw off the whole connection there, the whole chance of Arkansas just to kind of go, hey, run your offense, get down there, score, cut it to 3. There's plenty of time left. That put Arkansas and Petrino behind the clock. What it did.
Billy, before we hit a break, fourth down conversions.
Yeah,
that was something. I mean, 3 for 3. You talked about the one on the fourth, but like the fact that they are willing, and Elko told us he was going to be willing to do it. He thinks that they can pick up that yard, and they're getting that yard this year.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line has been fantastic.
Yeah, I think through 7 games, they had kind of one moment there against Mississippi State where they were unable to punch it in on that goal line stand. But outside of that, like I go back to Notre Dame, 3 of their touchdowns came just basically having to punch it in against a really, I mean, when I say, did you watch that game the other night? That is a really physical defense. And by the way, a young D coordinator I really like, and they gave up 200 rushing yards to Jeremiah Love. I really like Danton Lynn at USC. He gets his guys flying around. That's an old Texas high school product there. Went to Penn State, son of former NFL head coach Anthony Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
But Notre Dame is physical. That Notre Dame USC game was physical. It looked like an SEC football game. And the Aggies punched it in with Le'Veon 3 times down there on the goal line. And we've seen, going back to really, I think the first game of the year, terrific play call, wide open Theo down there. I think the other day, or last week, right off the bat, you get Marcel, second play, walks in on the read, on the zone read. But then you watch this week, you had a beautiful, easy play to Burkature. I mean, he was wide open, just kind of catch it standing there. And then you had Reed walk in, essentially, on the keeper. So I think Colin Klein's doing what you need to do down there, where he's being creative, but they still have the power to lean on if they need to. I think even without Le'Veon, because I think the blocking is that. And, yeah, it was to convert 3 fourth downs in this one on 3 tries was, in a 3-point game. Obviously, it's a huge part of it. And the one that Elko's going to get the most talk and credit for is what he did there in early in the fourth quarter, because that took some stones. That took some real stones to do it.
All right, we'll hit a break. Let's talk about the SEC on the other side, the rest of the teams. Farming and ranch families think differently. You're not just working for today. You are building for generations to come, and that's why Heritage Films have created this new branch called Farm and Ranch Films, where they document farms and ranches, their stories from timber operations in Washington to cattle ranches in Texas and agricultural legacies across America. They are not just documentaries, they're cinematic time capsules. Capture that unique relationship with you and your land and your family in that land. And it's a beautiful way to honor your land, but also to honor your family. Whether you're thinking in 20 years ahead or 100-year cycles, Farm and Ranch Films preserves that wisdom, that work ethic, and the value that makes your family so, so special. Your legacy deserves this level of craftsmanship, and Chance McClain is the best at doing it. visit yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. Click on the Farm and Range section of the website or call them up 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. But let's take a little spin around the SEC, shall we?
Yes, sir.
We were watching the Texas-Kentucky game together, and some coaching malpractice by Mark Stoops. I think at the end of the game, a game where Texas's offense didn't do anything, and Kentucky actually moved the ball a little bit. They couldn't score, but they moved the ball on Texas's defense.
Yeah, they did. 400 yards. Look, we do the moving goalpost on Sundays, and I'm careful in how I word it, because of we've now dubbed it battered Atwell syndrome, because I'm going to say it, and then it's going to be like, oh, now this backfired, right? It's just a thing. So, but with that said, I'm still going to say it. I'm just going to say it more delicately. And the Texas defense, I'm got a question of how elite are they, because they were truly elite last year. They were supposed to be truly elite this year, and they looked exceptional against OU a week ago. I will say that 2 of Mateer's 3 picks were kind of right to defenders. Mm-hmm. Terrible throws, actually. I don't really remember the third one. They actually dropped another terrible one that was a pick 6. OU's got no running game to speak of. I don't think anyone's afraid of their wide receivers, and their O-line sucks and was banged up. So they shut them down, but Florida just absolutely tore them apart. Baugh, Dallas Wilson, even Lagway, Florida gashed them, physically beat them up. Okay, we did great against Ohio State. They did really well. Julian Sands' first game to start ever. I watched what Florida did. I watched what Kentucky did with 400 yards, and she did make a point that you have to acknowledge, which is that defense tired out. They kept going on. I don't care how good you are, but it's Kentucky, and that quarterback is wretched. He's so bad, and they have no skill weapons that even remotely. I guess Seth McGowan is it. That's the only thing that even remotely resembles anything that would be at a high-end SEC place. They lost their 2 best receivers. This team might look different if they got the guy at LSU and the guy at Nebraska, Brown and Key. They don't have them. There's nothing about that Kentucky offense that should, a good defense would completely shut them down. They gained 400 yards. So 2 of the last 3 weeks, this defense has been cut up by Florida and Kentucky. It's really interesting to watch, because here's what I'll say about them moving forward. You look at their schedule, and you know what's left?
Vandy.
Diego Pavia and Vandy. Shapen, Brennan Thompson, Edwards, probably no what's our guys, Fluff Bothwell, but the other running back there. Mississippi State's got a quality offense. I wouldn't say they're world beaters, but they've got weapons on offense. Vandy and Diego Pavia. Then you go Georgia, and they're starting to really get it going, particularly at home. You're going to face that Georgia offense that I don't think they were stopped against Ole Miss. Which, by the way, Ole Miss, your defense sucks. And then they've got Arkansas, who we just saw, and we've spent 15 minutes talking about their offense. And then they've got A&M. That's their last 5. I don't think they play a team with a bad offense the rest of the way. The worst offense they play, I think, is all right in Mississippi State. That's the worst one. And they've got, like I said, they've got an experienced quarterback. They got a good running back and 2 good receivers. And that's the worst they're going to see out of those 5. So just something to file away, and I think it's interesting that Kentucky could gain over 400 yards. Now, if you're a Longhorn fan, you're telling me, well, they didn't gain 1, and that's all that matters. I agree that is all that mattered on Saturday night in Lexington. I disagree that that's all that matters, because you have to just kind of notice, because they're going to have to win games with defense.
Yeah.
The SEC is really interesting when you start looking at teams trying to figure out who can get to 10, and you start realizing like who plays who, where, okay, these two can't. You know, Oklahoma's got who? Oklahoma's got Alabama. One of them's, going to take a loss there. Oklahoma and Tennessee play.
They got Missouri.
Oklahoma plays Missouri, Tennessee, and Alabama. So they're a really fascinating
and
one.
LSU.
Well, but LSU's already got 2 losses, and so does Tennessee. Tennessee's schedule. So pull up Tennessee's schedule. That's the interest. Tennessee and Ole Miss are the interesting. So who do they have left here?
They got at Kentucky.
Win.
Oklahoma.
Toss up.
New Mexico State.
Win.
At Florida.
Win.
At Vandy.
Yeah. So Tennessee, they've got 2 hurdles to keep them from 10-2. So they could certainly get there and pull up Ole Miss. That's the other one that I think they don't have a whole lot in front of them.
At Oklahoma.
Yep.
South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, at Mississippi State.
So
they got it pretty easy.
Pretty easy. So you're almost like this week, if you're wanting what's best for A&M, you'd love to see Ole Miss lose to OU. And by the way, that would only be their second.
Right.
Ole Miss is looking really good for a playoff berth. So is Georgia and Alabama. Bama, OU is kind of a team that, they play Ole Miss, they play Tennessee, and they play Alabama. OU would be nice to do some shaking up. Georgia's got a pretty clear path. A&M, this is why this weekend's significant for the Aggies. Because I think if you win this one, again, the Aggies 10-2, despite what our poster thinks, because of the timing of the losses. It's not timing, it's resume. He's talking about the rankings. It's not the rankings that matter, it's the resume here. And I think Texas A&M, and by the way, if you beat LSU and get to 8 and go into a bye week, there's a decent chance you'll be number 2 by the time you're playing. There's a shot you can be number 2 by the time you're playing Missouri. Or you're 2 or 3. So even if you lost that one,
so we could potentially have 5 teams that are 10-2.
Realistically, you could realistically see
Vandy.
Well, but see, here's the thing: Vandy has to play who? Tennessee. So one of them is taking a loss there. Vandy has to play Missouri. So you got Vandy and Missouri, like that whole thing. I think the teams you have to legitimately worry about being 10-2, because if Vandy or Mizzou or OU get in there into the 10-2 mix, they've knocked a team or 2 out along the way. So I think it's Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, A&M, and Tennessee.
You don't put Texas because they have the 2 losses on there if they ran the table?
Well, if Texas got in there, they'd probably – now Georgia could finish 10-2 also.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Texas yet, because Texas would have to beat – I mean, look, they'd have to beat Vandy,
Georgia,
A&M, and Georgia.
Yeah.
And they'd have to, oh, by the way, beat Mississippi State and
on the road
as well. So I wouldn't – again, there's certain teams that can get there, but they'll shake up some things along the way and not – they might knock an A&M out. They might knock a Georgia out. So, but realistically, Ole Miss has the clearest path. I think Bama's got a fairly clear path. Georgia, A&M, and Tennessee. I mean, those are the 5 that could. But here's the thing. The thing here is whose resume looks the best out of those, if those teams are sitting there. And because of what Notre Dame did, Texas A&M's would be way up there and certainly higher than, say, a 10-2 Tennessee. And I would think certainly higher than a 10-2 Ole Miss. Ole Miss probably needs to lose one more, though. So I think it would be significant for Ole Miss to lose to OU this weekend.
We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with the final segment. It's TexAgs Live. Final segment of the program. 2 minutes left on the show. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, the people have spoken, and you can relay the message.
The people have spoken. They said the only reason that A&M is on a 10-point betting favorite against LSU is because of their history.
Billy, do you agree with that?
I think it has more to do with the venue and that LSU defense. But yeah, I do think there's a little bit of LSU gets. I was just texting with someone about LSU because the national people were so quick to jump on them after beating Clemson. And our friends down at the Bayou, they did a game one victory lap for the ages. Best defense ever. One of the best, you couldn't hear the end of it.
Yeah.
$20 million defense, and Nuss outplayed Klubnik, and they should, he should receive some sort of award for that. As we see, the target's always moving. And I do think these people around the country are so quick to credit other programs and certain favorite sons, and it takes a while for, I think, people to kind of react and respond to what the reality is. So yeah, I think maybe A&M, you could put another couple points on there, and there's some kind of lag there in that. But I also think that Vegas always knows, and that should be a tight game in Death Valley. A&M hasn't won there since. I mean, you say '94. I don't really do that because they haven't played there from '94 until 2013. So it's really
in the SEC era.
They're 0-5, probably 0-5 or 6 since being. I think 0-5. So yeah, that matters. LSU's record at home at night factors in. I think A&M is going to get a very motivated, fired up group. But again, like I said last week with Arkansas, I go with the team that's proven through this point of the year to be better. So that's Texas A&M.
That'll do it for the TexAgs Live. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you mañana with Josh Payton and more.